Hello. I'm recording a live video to talk about the new breakthrough from LOT Institute, which is Cybernetic Quantum Government System, Cqgs. It is a very interesting work that is coming along. It is a white paper, not only describing the some hypothetical ideas, but actually a method to generate up to $5 trillion each year within next decade. The revolutionary approach is that we understanding why we even need the computerized government. Historically, the government is corrupt. Even the first elections were random voting. Whoever wants to become a president would put their name on the leaf, and that leaf will be put into the mud hole, and from that mud hole a child would pull a random leaf, and that person would be president. So historically, the politicians were labeled as dirty and corrupt. So, and that dirtiness and that corruption is happening in front of children. So the need to replace the human sector within the government is very urgent. The government itself is very important. The role of the government is to maintain the economy, therefore balance the resources. So in the face of weather, environmental force majeures, health crises, we still have the resource. That resource is federated and organized by the government. We can even say that the inflation itself, which is 2.5%, is a number that is maintained by the governments according to the population, keeping the population growing, acknowledging the resistance with the gravity, meaning that people need to learn, people need to acquire skills, people need to get married, make more children. That resistance with gravity and with the planet itself generates that gravity pull index, which we call at the white paper labor index, 2.5%, which is equal to the inflation number. So that means that the role of government is to monitor the budget, monitor the resources. Some of the resources that we possess are not even, we're not even aware of them. We're taking them for granted, such as water, clean air, roads, asphalt, wheat, seeds, grains, equipment, pharmaceuticals, hospitals, transportation, many other, gas, many other items that we use every day. At this point, almost subconsciously, automatically, that is government role to maintain those budgets. So those resources can be generated, and the safety budget pillar is always there. For example, in the United States of America, there are two budgets. One budget is mandatory, which is approved by the Congress every 6 years, which is the lifespan of the congressman. So Congress renew itself fully within 6 years. Some congressmen are being renewed within 3 years. Then there is a presidential term budget, which is 4 years. And then there's annual budgets every year. So the 6-year budget is pretty much set. It is those necessities that we use every day. They are outlined, the subsidies paid, the budget goes towards military, towards healthcare, education, agriculture, technology. Some budgets are more urgent. Maybe there is some event that needs attention. Or maybe there is a new emerging technology, such as, say, artificial intelligence, that must be addressed with the budget. So those lines can be adjusted annually. A new president might present a new program, which is also short-term, 4 years, where the Congress have 6-year budget plan. So that's really in scope the single and sole role of the government, all of the House representatives, all of the governors, congressmen, president, the president's staff, White House, the whole Washington, most of the judges as well, are responsible to protect and maintain and optimize that budget. The sole purpose of Congress is to work on the budget and present it each year. One comes from House of Representatives, and another one comes from the Congress, where they agree on the budget and present it to the president. We can even say that the entire government is really an accounting department of the country. So in other countries, the corruption is more visible. We know that presidents take the money for their families. They misuse the tax revenue for their personal gains. They buy offshore assets, they buy property, they distribute it throughout their families and acquaintances to create more power, to maintain the grip on that, let's say, free money, which is tax money, taxation money, because the majority of the budget, up to 70%, comes from citizens, sales, and economy in general, taxation. Sales taxes, corporate taxes, income taxes, individual taxes, real estate taxes, gas taxes, transportation taxes, state taxes. So it would accumulate up to 70% to some individuals within the United States. In the United States, historically, the process is well organized because of the bulletproof constitution, because of very high level quality of life, because of how prosperous and abundant the America is. However, despite this abundance and the unprecedented technological progress and development, achievements, innovations, most of the innovations come from the United States of America. Most of the corporations and products come from the United States of America. Most of the inventions, up to electricity, internet, pharmaceuticals, transportation, come from the United States of America. The inventions might be spread all over the world, but the products are shipped to the customers for the first time in the United States of America, for the most part. Despite that, the budgets are still being appropriated by the corrupt government. Maybe not in the form of direct appropriation, like, say, in other countries, through real estate, cash, even gold, but through stock, power, even things like creating power structures of children going to specific universities such as Harvard, Stanford, where they become by default, without even accounting or acknowledging their skills, they become by default the ruling class of United States. That led to certain crises within the country, most importantly, the crisis of identity, the crisis of this generational wealth generation that create people who becoming less and less responsible towards their duty. So the cybernetic quantum government system is the computerized constitution. Imagine where the constitutional formulas or constitutional statutes are put as formulas. There is no human mistake, where the each grain of the wheat is quantified by weight and by its qualities, by its source and the result in production, by the machine. We already have spreadsheets, we already have internet just for the past 50 years. The next iteration is quantum quantification. A full understanding of the raw material transferring to the product and the feedback from the consumer back to the machine to optimize and create better quality product. Another big part of the government is the ongoing work of regarding the universal basic income. It might appear as subsidies, pensions, parental dividends. However, throughout the history, it is still an ongoing work. So the quantum machine is actually able to distribute the dividend among its citizens, because it would rely on constitutional formulas, it would rely on natural formulas behind the economy that are proven, it would rely on arbitrage gold system, and it would rely on the biofeedback loop from its citizens. So the quantification of the product will result in quantification of the citizen. I propose that the quantification of the citizen will be by their own will. A simple example. I feel good. I have a healthy family, and I have a healthy lifestyle. I submit my score in a way, in a form of a medical record that in the quantum government will include the biofield data, which can be faked. So if I feel happy, it can be resulted in seeing quite literally my energy level. I can really be bright, my aura can be shine, my chakras can be shine. This information can be already read and understood. I present this information in the form of medical records, perhaps even using a household setup of myself, my family, and especially my children, back to the government. Government sees me as a healthy individual with a healthy family. They analyze what I'm eating, how am I eating, what is my skill set, what is my profession, and what is my lifestyle. Assuming that both channels are connected to the quantum machine, the output of the government, which is the products, food, water, and input, which is me, giving back the information to the government, to the quantum machine. We have emerging technologies such as telemedicine. We have emerging technologies such as biofield cameras. We already can see and read the chakra information. So, and of course, all kind of fitness and health trackers already exist. So I send that information back. Now the machine, quantum machine, create a loop where it understands why it's happening. And if it's all aligned, and if I'm not lying, which is also can be read, especially through healthiness and joy and curiosity of the children, the machine gives me or pays me dividend for being healthy. I believe that is the major breakthrough proposal, because certain information can be faked. And in this case, the dividend depends on my lifestyle. So if I'm healthy, if I'm skillful, if I'm intelligent, if I'm dedicated parent, government pays me dividend. That means that if I simply stay on a high note, meaning my health, my family, my relationships are not toxic. I am on path with my craft, with my mastery. I becoming better and better as a professional. I can rely on the government to pay back the dividend, because they cherish me as a great citizen of the country. If that's the case, then a lot of things will be different. For example, we will not have the politicians, we will not have the race towards becoming a famous politician, which is the president, and all of the political apparatus is to get famous to be elected. So that will be removed. The entire race towards becoming famous in general, which is also very, very unhealthy thing, because a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, a lot of lie goes into becoming famous. If the quantum machine simply picks, say, best family, that family must be the most famous. The interesting part about the biofield and organic lifestyle and being, let's say, normal and being good is that if you start to become obsessed with that score, like, basically force your children to be happy, or force your children to love, or force your wife to love you, and like force yourself to become some extra healthy and start to go into some kind of health hacking, that would not work, because it guaranteed that that's not happiness. You will not be happy. You will be depressed. So it is possible to put it on spreadsheet, but imagine that information within quantum photonic processor chip. Imagine that information not around one family member or one family, one household, but thousands and then millions and then the entire population. So the cybernetic quantum government solves the problem of corruption. It solves the problem of violence and lies, which led to becoming famous and rich. It solves the problem of healthy lifestyle, healthy products, processed food. Here's an interesting point that the processed food is highly automated. So it is on a level where it is available to everyone. However, the quality of it, especially on energy level, on biofield, on the aura level, is at zero. So if you actually eat that automated food, the supermarket full of the processed food, you will not feel great. Your health will not be great. So the quantum government must create new type of automation, new type of processed food. And the dividend that will be issued to people, interestingly, even in the futuristic quantum computer setup, will rely on people cooking their own meals. So supplying the citizens with raw materials to cook food, and providing them with more time, and even rewarding them for cooking themselves, is another key to success. Another interesting point is the corporate taxation of the equity corporate taxation of the companies within the United States of America. Imagine if each of the LLC, Inc. and LLP are being taxed on equity level, meaning that not only the founding family, which for many, especially with high valuation companies, depends on very historically wealthy families, with rare examples where the founder is built a successful company by himself or herself. So if we see a high valuation major corporation with valuation even without sales, say trillions of dollars or billions of dollars of valuation, like some companies approaching $1 trillion valuation, but the sales are actually in negative, and they rely on government subsidies, on constant investment that counts in hundreds of millions of dollars. In that case, the money are technically being laundered by that corporation. If the government taxate the equity of that corporation, that means that the government becoming a co-founder of the company. That means that if the founder becoming extremely wealthy, or the company becoming extremely wealthy based on valuation, the public interest, a lot of value goes back to the government. So me, as a citizen of the United States of America, would receive dividends from that corporation, technically making me a co-founder of that corporation as well, just by being citizen of the United States of America. Another interesting point within cybernetic quantum government system is the understanding of gold and understanding of debt. The proposal is that if we know that 50% of all gold on the surface is in the form of jewelry, and the rest 50% is within government and technology, we can create a process where we would account private gold holdings. So while you own your gold, you can rent it to the government, adding it to Fort Knox, adding its value to Fort Knox, and making the gold reserve higher for the country. But you own the gold, you hold the gold. Currently, even if you put your gold holdings into the bank cell, you're not receiving dividends from it. You're just storing it there. So that means that if we create a technology around me as a citizen renting my gold to the country, be it through bank cell or even in my private possession within safe at home, we can add $2.5 trillion of value every year by accounting that private gold, which is 10% of United States GDP. So this is a very big number that would already create a budget to start sending those dividends to good, healthy families. That will be enough budget to start working on those biofield technologies, biofield cameras, biofield scanners. That is enough budget to start working on independent from corporations, government-owned quantum servers. So all that information would not be processed by any of the corporation or startup. It will be processed by the government itself. So the government-owned quantum server is one of the priorities for that budget. The corporate taxation will generate additional $2 trillion. So that brings the total revenue number to $4.6 trillion, almost $5 trillion of revenue per year from corporate equity taxation and gold, private holdings gold accounting. That money must be used not only for the dividends, but to build that quantum machine itself. It might be powered by NASA if we send the servers to the orbit, so they go independent from wars and possible environmental catastrophes. So the quantum server lives in space, orbiting either our planet or other planets. It might be powered by NSA, who would work with the amounts of that quantum information and work directly with the machine through new type of interfaces and new type of computer codes. It must be based on blockchain, so each transaction is transparent and with timestamp and available to any citizen. So there is no tampering with any of the information. So each single transaction is transparent. Each interaction with the government is transparent. Even the dividends are transparent, so people know and can see, well, who received the most dividends? This family. So it's almost like creating a rating of the healthiest families or the best families, or families with the most children. It creates the transparent governing system where the community leaders become more important if they can send their feedback about families, about their streets, about their neighborhoods directly to the machine without having a representative, without having a lobbyist in the Congress or House of Representatives, talking directly to the machine, and machine understanding who is giving the information and can rely on it more than it rely on a human representative. And so the main point is why the quantum government is so important. Besides corruption, besides ill intentions of the people in power, families in power, besides fixing the dollar debt, besides understanding and working more closely with gold on the level of every citizen, besides improving the quality, the energetic quality of the produced manufactured products, the very point is to decrease the median age of the nation. At this point, we have 39.5% of 39.5 years as median age. It is going towards each year as a year on top of that. That's a very dramatic and negative dynamic. So within few years, or within few presidential terms, we might be at 42 and then 47 as a median age. Such countries already exist. Japan, for example, approaching 47 years old as a median age. That means there are not enough children. That means people don't want children. That technically means the population lives in fear. So, with the cybernetic quantum government system, all of those departments and all of those avenues, they create a trajectory towards median age of 16 years old by year 2105. So it is possible to get to the 16-year-old of median age by the year 2105. That means that people must have 4 children plus. That means that there should be the utmost emphasis on family creation, on young family creation. 27-year-olds must start having kids every 3 years. So by the year 53 of the woman, the family have 4 plus kids. That only can be done if a young family have a guarantee of the dividend that will be distributed by the government. I was able to calculate with the gold accounting, private holding gold accounting, and corporate equity taxation. It is possible that an individual would receive up to $11,000 per month as a dividend. So you can imagine that a couple get together and receiving $11,000 for planning a child. Imagine they get rewarded by being healthy parents. Imagine a father striving to become a craftsman, so his skill set would be accounted and he receives even more dividends. Besides being able to start his own business, besides being able to get a job and get paid in abundance, just the government would acknowledge his level of skill. The child is happy, the child is curious, the child spends a lot of time with mother. It is quantifiable. Well, now mother receives an additional dividend by being a great mother. So she's being paid by the government for her full-time job of being a great mother. A child grows in security knowing that their household is on quantum machine and is incorporated as a company. So their family now can be a company. So the child will receive the equity of the family, be it gold, be it wealth that the family accumulated, or even intellectual property that father generated, even working a full-time job, besides having a dividend that coming from being a co-founder of every corporation in the United States. So that creates a system of guarantee, financial pillar for the young family, without relying on Congress, without relying on the White House, without relying on any elections or political games, without relying on the celebrity propaganda, without relying on the some kind of culture wars and propaganda wars that creating the manipulation of the human mind. A citizen focuses solely on their well-being, their craft, and their children. So that is only possible with the supercomputer. That is only possible with the quantum machine. And I believe that the reason why we have emerging quantum technology is because it is to quantify all of that information and build a prosperous, children-focused world. So this is an overview of the white paper, and it is in more details and with more numbers will be presented soon. The first part is already public, and I just wanted to record this video so the process is shared and you can follow along. And once it's public, you will be already presented with the understanding. I also hope that this process will be noticed by any of the politicians, Congress, representatives, United States military, and United States agencies such as CIA and NSA, including IRS and NASA, because I believe that this is a breakthrough for the nation, and the way the logic flows only add up value of real real gold, real valuation, real trillions of dollars. So this is not only research. This is an actual method to generate trillions of dollars and lead the United States of America not only to become the most successful country on the planet Earth within the next 100 or even 1,000 years, but switch the metric from GDP to median age. That would guarantee even more success long term. Please follow along. I hope you like this video, and all the best. Vadik. Lot.